What's good, everybody? Welcome into Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. You already know the vibes. It is playoff time. And in honor of the playoffs, do us a quick favor. Please give us a 5-star rating. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and make sure you follow us on all things social. It is time to get down to playoff business. Big things have happened as the first round continues. Some teams are gone. Some teams are living to play another day. We have Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks eliminated. And as of Wednesday night, LeBron James and Luka Doncic are no longer playing postseason basketball. A series in which Danny and I predicted that the Lakers would win in 7. Did not happen that way. Shannon Sharp said Lakers in 5. Anthony Edwards said Lakers will lose in 5. And that's exactly what happened. Rudy Gobert, 27 points, 24 rebounds, 20 rebounds. Yeah. Man almost had a third. Man had a 27-24 on them boys. JJ Redick was uptight and tense going into the game. There are so many things to dissect, so let's get right into it. Your biggest impression coming off of the Lakers playoff elimination Wednesday night, Danny?
I kind of want to say I want to give them grace, but I didn't have high expectations for when the trade was made. I think they kind of built the expectations up for us, getting that 3 seed and then playing so well and figuring it out. And I think it was mostly, I got to give a lot of credit to Austin Reeves, because of how well he was playing during that time, and complimented Luka and LeBron. And also, I guess give some credit to JJ because defensively they were pretty good to start. They had some lows when LeBron went out, then they came back, but they were playing really good, and it made me look wrong. But my initial reaction was, this is not going to work. It did work, but I was like, even if they do figure something out, they have too many holes. They're not keeping up with these young teams. And I would have arguments all the time with LeBron fans, which I said I'm still a fan of LeBron too, but some LeBron fans are so biased that they don't see, they don't want to see the holes. And it's like, yo, LeBron and Luka, that's going to be dangerous. I said, yes, they are dangerous, but they can't stop anybody. They don't have anybody to clean up their mistakes. And so, or the game slows down. And I'm like, all right, yeah, the game does slow down. They're not going to make those mistakes. So they play against OKC, Houston, Minnesota. I'm like, these young teams that has attack Luka, they're gonna trying to run Bron out the gym. He's 40 years old, can't play him 40 plus minutes. You know what I'm saying? In the playoffs like that, he's not gonna be able, even though he still was spectacular and played unbelievable. But he's gonna wear down, and that just showed in the series. The fatigue showed, the holes on defense showed. But I didn't have expectations when they got Luka in the trade, but they started to build as it went up, but then it kind of reverted back to what I had said from the beginning. It was like, this is a first-round exit team. This is for the future. It's a good team to build on, but this is not a team that's a contender. But they kind of fooled us throughout the tenure, the 2-3 months that they were together after the trade deadline. There was a lot of mistakes. I wouldn't say a lot of mistakes. They played okay. They just ran out of gas. JJ, you saw, was a little uptight. And some things happened in the coaching side that I agreed with, and some that I didn't agree with. But that's why I'm not a coach. So I had no problems with him playing guys the whole fourth quarter. But the whole second half is tough. But the only thing I think people are looking at is that Maxi Kleber situation. It's like, at all the people you have on the bench, that looks like a panic button type situation. But I understand where he's coming from with that. It's Maxi Kleber. No disrespect to him. He's a very good and I think underrated big man. He gives you size for rebounding defensively, and he stretches the floor, puts Rudy on the perimeter. So he's a pick and pop guy that can stretch the floor and make Rudy get away from the basket. Because from the jump, before the first quarter ended, I said Lakers are going home. And that's because just the sense of urgency didn't look like it right there. And then we're getting too many rebounds, too many second, third opportunity possessions from the jump. They got like 5 or 6 rebounds. Again, mind you, missing a lot of threes. I'm like, they're shooting poorly. They shot like 14% from 3. But they were winning the whole game because you made Rudy look like Wilt. And everybody else it wasn't Rudy, it was Naz Reid, it was Nickeil Alexander-Walker, it was Jaden McDaniels, it was Juju, who played an unbelievable series. So Minnesota, man, they're looking really good right now, and they make a lot of people, especially myself, eat my words when it came to saying one of the worst trades in history of the organization. Juju's been balling, and they look pretty damn good. They look really good.
Shout out to Julius Randle. There was a lot of negative playoff narratives that were revolved around his name. And I think the media in large was not fair to him. When he was with the New York Knicks, he was put in to a situation where he had to be a number one option. He's just not a number one option. And so when you get to the playoffs, it makes it even more difficult, particularly under the play style of Tom Thibodeau, which is really a slow-paced game. I think Julius really thrives when there's more pace. But when you get to a real slow pace in a half-court set as a number one option as Julius Randle, it's not going to look great. We just had to be real about it. But I think now in Minnesota, slotted at the number 2, I think it's really helped him really fit in. And again, to be fair to Julius, we don't know how he would have played last year in the playoffs with that revamped New York Knicks team. He might have showed out a lot better. But he was hurt. So there's that.
I think the biggest question was, after being a number 1, can he even slide to number 2? With the Knicks, he would have had to be in the 3-4 option. You know what I'm saying? Because they already had brought in so many guys before they even got Cat, right? They had brought in OG. Like he would have been the 2. But it was more of a split time too, because I think even before they got Cat, did Mikal Bridges happen after Cat? Or
Mikal Bridges happened. Cat happened after Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, so Mikal Bridges, OG, all those guys were there, and it's like with the team, you guys that are stacked already before Cat came, you had DiVincenzo. It's like, can Julius even be a number 2? Can he even be a number 3 and be comfortable with that? Because it's like his game was predicated in that offense to being a number 1, like not really facilitating and playing off the ball or like taking a lesser role. You know, that was the question I thought anyway for me in the air was like, he was been a number 1 option. Can he actually even play with this system with these guys hooping like that and actually facilitating and being that? And he's shown that in Minnesota. He can do that. Yes. He's shown that he can facilitate and not just score. Because to me, it was like, his game seemed very one-dimensional in a sense, but he's showing that he can do other things.
Well, he did have that. There was a little sprint that he had last year with the Knicks when he was healthy after the OG Anunoby trade. Obviously, Mikal Bridges came this season where he was averaging 4 assists a game. There was a lot of optimism that it could have worked because he was finding his footing in a more offensively talented team. And then he had the shoulder injury, really put things on a downturn. I think the reason why the Knicks traded him, obviously Cat's a great player, but it was hard to evaluate how much to pay him because he's going to be coming up for a contract this offseason. So that really, I think, made it so hard because you already know you have Cat under contract. Why not just get the player who's better and under contract than the player who you don't think is better, who's also up for a new deal? It makes it a lot more difficult in terms of long-term structure of the franchise. But we can talk about the Timberwolves and the Knicks for another day because they're still alive. The Lakers are not. And so there are so many different avenues that we can go, but we're on limited time here. So let's do this, Danny. There are you and I both know that there are a number of things that the Lakers can do to get better for next season. Obviously, LeBron James has a player option. We're just going to assume he's going to opt into the player option, or even if he opts out, signed a 2-year deal. Let's just assume he comes back. And you have Austin Reeves going to be going into a restricted free agency year. And then after that, he could become an unrestricted free agent. And it is widely believed that he will just go to unrestricted free agency after 2 more years, have a better opportunity to get a long-term bag. I believe Rui Hachimura, his contract he also has a player option as well. There's a lot of things that the Lakers can do from internally to externally. Give me your mandatory moves for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Well, you hope that you get all those guys.
And if you could prioritize them, like this is the absolute.
Yes, absolute.
And before you go first, can I just tell you what my absolute number 1 is?
Go ahead. You go first. Go ahead.
Chief among them all. Luka Doncic, get in shape. Absolutely the most important. You can make all the moves you want in the world. You can get a big man. You could You can get 2 big men. You can get a 3-and-D player. You could trade away Austin Reeves. You could say, hey, you put LeBron on a 50-game plan or whatever you might want to do. The most important thing for the Los Angeles Lakers is making sure that Luka Doncic gets his ass in shape. It is unbelievable to watch him get beat possession after possession to the rim on a continuous basis, and he only exasperates it or enhances how bad it is because then he also just looks at the referees half of the time and looking for calls. It is deflating. Now, he could do that, and he got away with it in Dallas because he pretty much was the offense. And so you look at him and you say, bad defense, but you know what? You're carrying our offense.
He's going to give you 40.
In LA, not in LA. He doesn't need to carry the offense when you have LeBron James, when you have an Austin Reeves. You get to take possessions off offensively, make up for it defensively. You can't have the opposing team saying our whole offense can be derived upon where you are standing on the court. It was like the Minnesota said, okay, Luke is there. Okay, that's who we're going to tackle. Oh, Julius, we got Anthony Edwards, but Luka's guarding Julius Randle. So Julius Randle's the guy right now. It's unacceptable. I'm not saying he has to be all NBA first team, but he's got to be better. That's
all defensive team. You say he doesn't have to be all defensive team, but I get what you're saying.
That's for me unbecoming. It's not. I'm not expecting, but the effort wasn't even there because he's not in condition. That effort was unbecoming of a Hall of Famer. You can't be a Hall of Famer acting like that. That's crazy.
I don't think he was purposely acting like that. But yes, I have him getting in shape is like number 3 or 4 on my list because even getting in shape, it does not change his defensive abilities. Getting in shape does not change his style of play. And either way, in shape or not in shape, he's going to give you buckets. It don't matter what kind of shape he is. He's going to give you 40. He's still getting 30 plus 40 in the playoffs. That's not the issue. So to me, it's like, at this point, is he really going to change? Is things going to? He's getting older. Are really going to change his defensive habits? He can get in shape. Yes, that's number 3 or 4 on the list for me. Do we need to work on some lateral quick movements and him locking in and watching some film? Cool. Complaining to the refs, offensively and defensively, acting like he doesn't foul anybody when he touches people. But if those things were to happen to him, he would want fouls as well.
Oh my God.
And then he's doing the replay. Everybody does it now. Review it. Like I didn't foul him. So yes, that's an issue. That is something that needs to be a priority. But for me, they have to get a couple bigs. They need bigs and some defensive wings to clean up those messes. Like that's a top priority. Find some defensive value somewhere, whether it's a rim protector or another good wing defender. Because Dorian Finney-Smith can't do it by himself.
Yeah, they need a point of attack and a rim defender.
To me, it's get a big, get 2. You need 2 bigs. You need a good, solid, and I don't know why Koloko, you could develop him. You have some other guys there. I don't know what the situation is or the issue is, but I think he's a pretty serviceable big. I mean, you picked up Alex Len. I don't know what that does for you. Jackson Hayes didn't give him an opportunity, but I think he's good enough to give you 15 minutes a game, 7 minutes a half to give you some serviceable break. He's athletic enough to protect the rim and catch some lobs. But if you don't trust him, you need to go out there and find somebody else. So you got to get you a big and then surround these guys with 3-and-D wings. And it's hard to find for cheap. You can find some minimal guys.
They're not cheap no more, Danny. You know that.
Now you're looking at top tier. There are some guys that you can get for a minimum. You can get a Gary Trent Jr. out there. You can get a Malik Beasley. Like these guys, which they already have Malik Beasley, which it didn't work out. But get a Gary Trent, get somebody like that, and try to find them for a lot cheaper. Because obviously you have but you need a big. That is the first priority, and then finding some 3-and-D wings and people that fit JJ's system and offense. So that's the main priority. And then Luka, to me, is a secondary thing because he's not gonna his defensive abilities are not gonna change. His hips, his defensive stance. You get somebody work on that, he can get in better shape. But his style of play is gonna be what it is, and you got to figure out how to mix it up with letting Bron and Austin push the pace sometimes, and then Luka doing his half court, slow down. Like that's in the playoffs. That's what he's going to do. It's going to be half court set, pick and roll. Him, 2-man game. Kendrick Perkins somehow he's going to dribble the air out of the ball. That type of thing. So yes, you just have to have JJ adapt and adjust to him. Which is, I think they're a really good team when they're healthy, regardless. But for the playoffs, You need somebody to clean up those defensive mistakes and rotate with him and have some depth. So you get 2 bigs and another 3D. It gives you some depth because they have to play Braun at 40 years old, playing 40+ minutes, playing the whole second half.
It's nuts.
It's unacceptable, bro. Like, you need to find him some minutes. Yeah, Gabe Vincent and Vando, I don't know. You need to figure out what to do with them if you're not going to keep them and use them. Use them. They have enough money on the books to get somebody. You get your young kid from Houston. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can develop a Cam Whitmore or somebody like that, so a Reed Shepard, to the point, whoever. But go get some young talent, some young cheaper talent. Use the people you get off the books. Get a Steven Adams if you can find one, so.
Bro, you know how much better they would be with Steven Adams? Oh.
Which is any serviceable.
And he's a veteran. He's a vet big right now.
He's a vet. But he's not. I'm saying any serviceable because he's not. He's way above than your serviceable big. Steven Adams is a top tier serviceable big, but there's guys out there you can find. Instead of I hate to bring up the guys that before they retired or stopped playing, like the Dwight Howards and the Boogie Cousins, and then you got JaVale McGee playing in Puerto Rico. Like, you let a JaVale McGee go, and you picking up guys. No respect to them, but I just think JaVale's more serviceable than some of the guys that are still hanging around. So yeah, or you can find something in the draft or undrafted players. There's a lot of guys, not as many as normal because NIL, but there's some guys coming out of the draft that should be pretty solid.
Yeah, that you bring up a good point about that NIL. I would love to discuss it, but I don't know if we'll have enough time. Let's move on throughout the course of for another time. We have a number of series still being played as we evaluate the rest of the postseason. One series that is going on and maybe not going the way that we predicted, Danny, the Los Angeles Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. And
they're going away. They're going away, bro. The Los Angeles teams are making us look nuts. They're making us look crazy. We had Lakers in 6, 7. They lost in 5. I had Clippers. I had that series going 6 or 7. We had them beating Denver because Denver has not been a great consistent team all year, but they're somehow making them look. And Jamal Murray is playing. Give Aaron Gordon a lot of credit. Give Jamal Murray credit. They're balling in the latter end of the series. But these wouldn't be issues if the guys that we know to be the guys showed up and we know who we're speaking of. And they're making us look crazy. They're going home in 6, man. That's what it looks like to me.
Well, a couple of things, Danny. Number one, let's be fair. It could easily be 3-2 LA if Aaron Gordon doesn't get the last 10th of a second tip in. So, that we got to be fair about that. I also would say this.
Still, if it was 3-2, they're still I would still believe the way that I see them play the other night, they're going home.
Well, we're going to get to the chief. We're going to get to the chief reason about that. And one of the chief reasons about them potentially going home, the reason why the Nuggets are hard to evaluate and why maybe they don't get it as much credit as maybe they believe they should, or maybe even the reason why Mike Malone no longer has his job, is because Jamal Murray is the greatest player who is not consistently performing.
Also Russell Westbrook was an issue. Who's making a crazy firing for Russell Westbrook issue, but he's playing this well. He outscored James Harden and Kawhi Leonard last game.
But we've grown accustomed, and we know because of his skill set, particularly his erratic jump shot, that there's going to be ebbs and flows with Russell Westbrook. We just understand that that's what you buy. Buy
high risk, high reward.
Yeah. What I'm really talking about is Jamal Murray, who just signed the max contract extension this offseason, coming off a terrible Olympics. If Jamal Murray, I'm not saying he has to have a 40 ball every time he goes out there, but if Jamal Murray, if he was more consistent, maybe we never would have thought that the Clippers were going to win this series. Maybe we would have had the Denver Nuggets in the NBA Finals. Maybe Mike Malone has his job.
They wouldn't be a 4 seed. They'd be it'd probably be a 3 seed. Honestly, they'd be higher. Jamal Murray consistent. First of all, they stayed healthier with Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray, but if he played that way, and I'm not saying not consistent in terms, Jamal Murray consistent, like he was just more efficient as a player previous to this year. And that doesn't mean because in the playoffs he has more 40 balls in the franchise, which is crazy. With Jokic and Melo and everybody being there, he has more 40 balls in the playoffs than anybody.
He's a flamethrower.
And that's just him turning to Stephon in the playoffs. But we're not even saying that. Even if he just played his normal basketball at 20-25 at a more efficient clip, they would be way more. They'd be in a better position home court wise, and they would be a better team, and we would have more faith in them as a contender. But we don't because it seems like Jokic has no help when he has the pieces around him who have the contracts. He clearly does. He clearly does.
It feels like there is an untapped potential with this Nuggets team. One of those players being Jamal Murray, and I am of the mindset that Michael Porter Jr. has too much skills within him to be rendered to a catch and shoot shooter.
Yeah,
catch and shoot 3-point shooter. We haven't necessarily seen it over a long extended time. And who knows, for example, with the New York Knicks, obviously I love the New York Knicks. OG Anunoby's game has opened up and it hasn't taken a step back ever since Jalen Brunson had that ankle injury. And I'm not saying Jokic should get injured. I'm not wishing that at all. But I do think it would be beneficial to the Nuggets to actually try to survive without Jokic. Don't
Well, they did the other night. They did the other night, yes. And that's kind of like what Minnesota did. And, I had the argument with Stephen A. It looks like Ant had some help. He was saying he has nobody behind him. He has plenty of help. Jokic has help. He had a triple-double still, but he only had 13. Those other guys stepped up. And really where MPJ thrives is on the offensive glass. He rebounded well the series.
He's a great rebounder for him. He's a great rebounder.
But he was a guy that can duck in. He can duck in, get some post-up mismatches on certain smaller guards. He has to do more of that. Run in transition, duck in, get in the post. Run more actions for him. Run more actions for him to play in the Malone spot. I don't know if you know what the Malone spot is. It's like from the elbow down post area, like the little off post where Karl Malone operated. That's why we call it the Malone spot. So that area where he can jab, shoot over guys, or at least create a double team, or gives you another offensive threat and aspect. But I said we just didn't believe in him because he was inconsistent as well. And then, of course, the Russell Westbrook situation of being up and down, the high risk reward, also made you not believe in them and say, I don't know if I can trust it. So with that being said, if they were consistent, this is a team that you would say has a chance at beating OKC. Even though they're playing this well and beating the Clippers, which the Clippers just aren't playing really good right now. Well, from last night, the other night anyway, I still don't trust them. I still see OKC smoking. I'm saying OKC smokes them in 5-6 games. You know what I'm saying? So
can't trust them.
Yeah,
I can't trust Murray if he has a guy like Lou Dort potentially on him. Okay. Now with that being said, we're gonna have more to just
You got a plethora of guys that can guard.
Case and Wallace. It's
Jalen.
It's
Williams.
Come on. It's looking like Timberwolves Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. Now I want to talk more about James Harden, but we don't have to just yet because the series is not over. But if this series is over, I think the trend as it pertains to James Harden and his playoff performances will be a long and needed discussion because right now it's nasty. It's nasty
scientific
work.
Study. It's going to be a scientific study.
It's nasty work, but let's wait for the final data to be published. We'll wait till the end of the series to really.
He has a chance to turn it around.
He has a chance to turn it around.
But that game 5,
nasty.
Unbecoming
of a guy this talented. He's so Danny. Let me not get started.
I said I can't leave it all on him because like I said, Kawhi didn't play his normal Kawhi, like what we expect from Norm didn't play that well. So it was an all around thing, and Denver was hitting from the start. Jamal Murray caught flame, and then from that point forward. But Christian Brown should not have that much of a hold on the game and affect the game defensively when he's guarding a guy like James Harden, and give him a lot of credit because he is good and he's played well. But James Harden is he's a generational talent that should not be able to be guarded like that from one guy.
We'll do the full introspective on the Clippers when that series is over. One series that is over, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Indiana Pacers. Giannis Antetokounmpo went out guns blazing, for lack of a better phrase. No Dame Lillard as he tore his Achilles. And they
man, it's tough, man.
Oh boy, it's tough. It's tough being Giannis. It's tough being a Bucks fan. It's tough being Doc Rivers. Because to lose a lead, a 7-point lead with 39 seconds is incredible. Now, to be fair to Doc, that's the player's fault too. Like the players deserve majority of the blame. Like I know people want to go to Doc and he deserves to get blamed for it, but the players got to be better. The players got to be better. That's crazy. Come on,
missed free throws. 2 turnovers, bad defensive mistakes that we know for sure in the scout report. You're not letting Tyrese Halliburton go to his right hand for layups and dunks to tie the game, to win the game. And then it said switching, giving up threes at the end. But the 2 turnovers are not Doc's fault. And he told them they had a foul to give. He was letting them know. And when you give up the foul, you foul Tyrese Halliburton when he's at the rim for a left-hand layup. You give him N1. What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? You got the performances you needed from Gary Trent Jr. You got the performance you needed from A.J. Green. These guys both balled out. And then Giannis, of course, had a 30-20.
And you didn't get it from Kyle Kuzma. Boy, Danny,
but you had enough to win this game. You should have won the game.
Should have won the game. 100%. Should have won the game. 100%.
This is a game y'all leading the whole game. Y'all beating them the whole game, even before OT. And then OT, you got Gary Trent caught fire. They were up 7 points with 40 seconds to go. All you do is make your free throws. Don't turn the ball over.
And now you're in a situation because of the Damian Lillard injury, because the lack of inspiring play.
I feel so bad for Dame, man.
That came from Kyle Kuzma. It sucks. And then because of the age of somebody like Brook Lopez, it is within full reason and logic for Giannis Antetokounmpo to say, we had a good run here. It's time for me to go. We can, because the Bucks offseason will last for a while, we could save it. But I will tell you this, Nick Wright of Fox Sports 1 pointed out a trade that I think would be fascinating. Giannis Antetokounmpo for Stephon Castle, who just won Rookie of the Year, Keldon Johnson, and a wealth of the first-round picks that the San Antonio Spurs have. And all of a sudden, you have a big 3 of Giannis, Wemby, and De'Aaron Fox in San Antonio. My word.
And if you get to keep Vassell, that would be kind of crazy. But I think they'd have to give up more than just those 2. They'd have to give up Vassell as well to make it happen. But that's still De'Aaron Fox, Wemby, and Giannis. That would look kind of crazy.
That would look absolutely nuts. And it's in the realm of possibility. Oh, my goodness. Okay, now let's talk about one series that we do know. It's crazy. As you look around, there's only one series that we know is going to happen.
It happened
Pacers,
in the second round,
yeah, Pacers versus the Cavaliers. And I don't think we need to talk about Tyrese Halliburton's pops. He was out of pocket. He's lucky.
Yeah, he knew it.
Giannis is a mild-mannered man. Yeah, no need to talk about it.
He's a well-raised kid, well-raised man. Good for him. You know what I'm saying? Kept his emotions in check. Respect his elders.
And I don't know how much validation I can give to the Cavaliers' first-round playoff win. I know they won by a historic margin, but let's just keep it a bean. The Heat are not good.
122 points. I think it's.
Tyler Herro's a good player. He's not a number 1 option. I don't know if Bam Adebayo is a number 2 option. And they just did not have enough. And that was the case with the
They're good at
Heat.
2 and 3.
They're good at 2 and 3, but they're not winning. But they're not.
Get Kevin Durant or somebody. You know what I'm saying? You better find a way to get somebody. So
yeah, and even if
Giannis or KD, one of somebody.
We'll see. Now, for the Indiana Pacers, this is a big-time series for them, Danny, because last year, while they earned some respect, judging from their run in the NBA Cup to eventually going to the Eastern Conference Finals, a majority of people looked at the Indiana Pacers and said, if the Knicks weren't hurt, you wouldn't have been in this situation.
Yeah.
You guys are not actually.
They got lucky. You guys are not actually Eastern Conference Finals people. So they have something to prove.
And that was maybe that was part of the reason why Tyrese Halliburton was voted as the most overrated player in the NBA.
Yeah, I just think got the gold medal. Well, I think the biggest thing is because he got chosen over Kyrie and a bunch of other people for the Olympic game. And
the last spot.
Mostly a lot of his accolades and resume and acknowledgement and the flowers they gave him is because of the first third of the season from a year ago, before the in-season tournament.
That's true, because his second half of the year last year wasn't good. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody was living off the hype of how well he played during that first third of the year. He had a great month and a half where he was getting 30 and 20. He had an unbelievable stretch. The hamstring issue obviously helped, but even without the hamstring issue, eventually the player's going to
wasn't an all-star this year.
He would have been a Hall of Fame player in 3 or 4 years if he played
that up.
He might have been an MVP player. You know what I'm saying? If he kept that up, it's not realistic. He was playing unbelievable basketball, but it was not a normal thing for him or most players. So it was hard for people to even expect that. So yes, that's why he got the most overrated. But yes, he has some things to prove, and I think he's starting to redeem it and letting people know. Like the other night, beating Milwaukee, coming down the stretch, making those plays, getting to the rim, getting dunks and layups to tie the game, to win the game. He's a very good player, but I just think people have the expectation too high for him because of that first third of the season a year ago.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the pressure in this series will come on him because Pascal Siakam, a very, very good player, is going to be more than likely matched up against Evan Mobley, the defensive player of the year.
Jared Allen behind him, so he has like a lot of bigs he has to work with. So Miles Turner is going to be huge in this series as well.
Yeah, so I think if you're Tyrese Halliburton and he really, takes a joy and has been very proficient as a playmaker, this series, particularly if he's going to be guarded by a Darius Garland, a Donovan Mitchell, a Max Strus,
DeAndre Hunter, he's got so many guys to throw at him.
If he wants to tweet overrate that after a series, this is the time to do it. Where you could tweet that if you get this done. Because now
there's a lot of Ty Jerome. There's so many guys that they have. Like you got a plethora of guys that you can tear through and prove yourself on that team. So
give me your prediction for this series. What team wins and in how many games?
I'm saying Cavs in 6. Honestly, they look so way more mature than I expected them to be. They look laser focused. They're not happy. They didn't get satisfied. They went on the road, and it's hard to base it off Miami. But Miami played them well in Cleveland. I don't know what the hell happened. I know Darius sat out those games, and then I saw slow-mo talking about it gave them a different look, and that was probably what threw them off. But they just looked unbelievable on the road and kicked ass. So I like the way they've been playing. I like what they've been doing. And I just don't think Indiana has enough, even though Indiana has some depth and they've been hooping. In the past they have. And you have TJ McConnell, Obi Toppin, that have balled out in the past. I just don't think they have enough to match up with DeAndre Hunter, Ty Jerome, Max Strus, and company. So it's going to be a good series, but I see Cleveland getting this done in 6. And Don is on his game. If Evan Mobley playing the way he's been playing and Darius comes back healthy, Cleveland's just been... They looked very dominant. And I said, mind you, it's not going to look the same against that team because Miami just was not good. But yes, I got Cleveland in 6.
I agree with you. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers win. And I would say it really, to me, Danny, this is going to become an Evan Mobley series. And I think he's pretty much the key to where the Cavaliers have gone. If Evan Mobley is able to match Pascal Siakam or shut the water off on Pascal Siakam, I don't know if the Pacers have that many other options in a half-court set to score. And Tyrese Halliburton, again, he's been great, but I don't know if Tyrese Halliburton is a consistent 27 points per game playoff scorer, where he's going to have to show and prove that he is that. And if Evan Mobley is the defensive player of the year and he could take out one of the main key cogs, then it's really going to be tough sledding for the Indiana Pacers. I'd also say this, and what I really want to see, and it's hard for me to judge, Danny, because the Cavs were so much better than the Heat that Evan Mobley didn't necessarily shoot threes under pressure. There were a couple games where I watched where Evan Mobley was just shooting the three comfortably. I remember he took a step back three. It was contested, and he made it, but they were up.
At 40.
20, 30 points. Can Evan Mobley truly earn the respect from the three-point line in tight playoff games? I know what he did in the regular season. Like, he's obviously a better three-point shooter. I know what he's done in playoff blowouts against the Miami Heat. But for the Cavs to truly unlock their full potential, I believe it's going to have to be Evan Mobley truly spacing the court from the three-point line, in my opinion. And I have to see it to believe it. He can shoot the three now, but can he shoot the three under pressure Those are two different equations.
For sure. I just don't think he'll get that pressure because there's so many pieces around him that allow him to be free and open. He won't need that pressure. Now it's a different stake, so the pressure would be the stakes, right? It's a closer series, but I don't think they're going to be contesting that hard. Like, I don't think it'd be flying at him. So yes, and I don't think he even needs to play on the perimeter, but the perimeter is a plus for them. But the fact that they have the way Ty Jerome has been balling, they have Sam Merrill, DeAndre Hunter went on the road, kicked ass in Miami. And then you get Darius back who can shoot. Don has been unbelievable. Jared Allen shooting 70% from the floor and 70% from the free throw line, which I've never seen in my life. I don't think anybody had 70% from the bat or the field usually can't shoot free throws. But they have a bunch of guys that can do a multitude of things that fits the pieces perfectly together. And honestly, if they continue what they're doing, Boston has their hands full because they struggled with Orlando. When Paolo was healthy or not in foul trouble, Boston did not. It's because Drew has been on the bench and been hurt. But if they have any type of injury, they just don't show the same type of depth that Cleveland has. And so it just relieves so much pressure on everybody. Darius doesn't have as much pressure anymore to score like he used to. Evan doesn't have as much pressure to do. He doesn't have to shoot. He can shoot them, but he's going to be so open with how these guys, Don is getting to the paint, how Darius is getting to the paint, DeAndre Hunter, Max Strus, Ty Jerome's shooting floaters, getting to the paint, Jared Allen getting lobs, putting pressure on the rim and getting dunks. He's going to be so open. If they just play their normal basketball, they get open looks. They just have to knock them down. Now, if they go on a cold front somehow, they may lose a game or two, but they play their normal game. This should be a pretty easy, I wouldn't say easy series, but this should be a series that they should win in 5 or 6.
I would love to see it. I do think the Pacers will give them I do think the Pacers could give them a run. I really just think it comes up to Tyrese Halliburton. Who will he perform like, or what will be his performance? I think that's really what it comes down to. Will he be a superstar, or will he just be another star in the NBA? That's going to be the difference. So much more that we would love to get into, but the playoffs continue to roll on. By the time that we come back next week, we'll have some finalization as it pertains to the Knicks and the Pistons. We'll know what would have happened in the Clippers and Nuggets series. We also would have had some finality, or at least gotten the series started between the Cavs and Pacers. And it shall be fun to see. Oh, and we'll also have finality between the Rockets and the Warriors. Things are getting interesting there as well. So when we come back next week, we'll break all those things down and much more. Thank you for tuning in to Inside the Green Room. Until then, Danny, tell them what to do.
Read, rate, subscribe, review. Peace.